What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sport Guns. Today we're going to talk about Ikaris, a character that has the player base a little bit kind of on the up and downs, right? Some people like Ikaris, some people really don't. It's really going to depend on where you're actually going to use him in the game, where you actually feel he's relevant. I mean, he's an okay character, right? You know, like me personally, I've been using him in PvE. I haven't tested him in PvP yet because I want to show you guys what he can do in PvE first. But from what I can tell and from the other videos I've seen, shout out to Moonbro and Beast Mode Gaming, they've done some PvP videos with this guy, and he just didn't look very impressive in timeline. Like, he was okay, but it looks like the AI just prioritized the wrong skills at the wrong times, and he doesn't do as well as what he really should. I mean, Netmarble really should kind of address those issues with Ikaris. I mean, if you manually play him, then you can get it done. But the thing about timeline is a lot of people are just going to auto play. But for those of you that manual play, you know, maybe he would be a really good choice for, you know, timeline. Now, as far as PvE content is concerned, he's not too bad. He's okay, right? He's okay. Like on my account with 13% Pierce, 100% energy tech, he's all right. And this uniform is a pretty big upgrade compared to his base kit. We'll show that today. But I mean, all they did for the uniform really is his third skill, he just gets a lot of extra residual damage from doing this third skill. And then his fourth skill is just a longer animation. He does a lot more hits. It lasts for a longer time period. So therefore, he just does more damage on top of just the stats that you get from the uniform. And also, the uniform also gives him a decreased damage received and the chain hit damage, which is really, really nice for a character like this. I mean, getting that decreased basic damage received by 25% on top of the decreased damage received by 30% in his kit. I mean, that's a decreased damage received by 55%. That's really, really awesome. That's one of the big reasons why people thought he would be a really, really solid PvP character. I mean, in AC, he's going to be a god. And his tier 3 does give him a damage proc, but I mean, there's really nothing special on it. It doesn't have a remove all debuff, nothing like that. I mean, it's really strange the way they treated this character. I mean, this is the leader of the Eternals, right? He's supposed to be like the most powerful one of them all, but yet he feels like the weakest. But maybe that's because I'm just kind of looking at more from a PvE perspective. I mean, Cersei and Makari, in all honesty, will destroy this guy in PvE content. And, you know, it looks like for a lot of players, he might be just relegated to a leadership. Now, the thing that I want to talk about regarding Ikaris is, you know, you're going to play this guy through the epic quest. You're going to be able to tier 3 him through that epic quest. And the thing is, I'm going to be using this guy as a sub DPS character. That's going to be my whole thing. So I'm going to have him built for PvE. You guys can see he's got 52,000 energy attack. He's got, you know, pretty much maxed out except for the critical rate, but he does have the leadership attack. All the Eternals do, which is something that's pretty nice that all of them have. And he does have mythic energy attack Urus. I haven't put any other Urus on him because I'm still debating on what I want to do with him as far as, you know, an obelisk. And all of his skills are 6, and he just has a stage 6 Power Ranger Hawk set. I'm probably never going to fully awaken this set because I think for me, I'm just not going to use this character. He's just going to be a leadership for the most part for the Eternals, and he's going to be a sub DPS character. I don't have his artifact, but his artifact really, in my opinion, it's okay, right? I mean, when you take a look at the artifact, let me see here. When you take a look at this thing, you can see if we can find it here real quick. It gives him the basic damage dealt to supervillains. I believe this goes up to 15% when it's maxed out, when it's 6-star. But the ignore iframe is kind of whatever. It's on a 17-second cooldown. That's not very good. And I hear a lot of times artifacts don't even proc when they should. I'm not really sure about that. I don't have any artifacts to test, so I'm not really sure about that. But he does have a critical damage with a 200% damage proc. Now, this isn't the best obelisk, but this is a good obelisk. That's a very high proc. That's a max proc that you can get on a regular obelisk, along with the critical damage. So it's a good obelisk, and I probably will end up keeping this on him. I mean, if you guys want to see him in PvP, I'll happily slap a CTP of regeneration on him. But from what I've seen, from what I said earlier, he just doesn't prioritize the right skills in timeline on auto, right? I mean, if you're mainly going to play him, it's going to be a different story. And because, I mean, you know, his fifth skill is going to be his bread and butter because it has penetrate everything. It's a long iframe, but you're going to have to time that skill to make sure that other characters aren't using their ignore iframe and timeline. Plus, his fourth skill is not an iframe, right? And this skill can actually get damage reflected, right? He can die instantly by Silver Surfer with this thing. So it's, from what I've seen so far, he's not as good as what I would expected him to be in timeline. His uniform is only at rare. I'm just slowly, gradually leveling this thing up, getting my experience from this story missions. And as far as uniform options, you know, we got Iron Man, which is awesome for the first one. Then we got Yelena for the next one. And then the one after that is going to be Red Hulk. So let me show you guys, you know, the difference in his damage in World Boss. Now, I haven't done all my World Bosses today. I'm kind of saving them for the epic quests. If I need them, I don't think I will. But we're going to go ahead and just use this team up right here. This is the OP team up. We're going to use this leadership. We're going to use White Fox. And then we're going to use Nick Fury. And we'll even use Strikers. All right, so I'm going to do that again because I wasn't really happy with the way things were going. So we'll try that again. Wasn't really doing the right rotation. I mean, whenever you play with Ikaris, you really want to try to avoid using his fist skill because that damn thing will set off the proc because of the long cooldowns. I mean, it's just 3, 4, get your accumulation from the 3. And then do the 5, 1 real quick there. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. And we're just going to wait. And then we just hit the damage accumulation before the tier 3. All right, now we're just going to go back into the 3, 4. I mean, you're just trying to keep the proc on the 3, 4 if you can. Get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. There we go. I'm just throwing in the 2 to try to get the tier 3 off cooldown a little bit faster. Okay, okay. There we go, there we go. And we're just going to play it for 1 minute. There we go. So we got down to the bottom of the 10th bar in 1 minute. Now let's see what he does with his uniform. If this thing ever loads, it likes to take its time for some reason. Okay. And using that 2 skill is actually going to be really important when we face Null because it's actually going to give ignore target dodge by 30%. All right, let's try this again. Bottom of the 10th bar in 1 minute. Can we beat it? All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, run away. And blast. Oh, proc set off. We're going to wait a little bit. We're going to wait a little bit. We're going to wait a little bit. Okay, okay. I really try to avoid using the fist skill if I can. I mean, you guys can see that there's already a pretty big difference in the damage that we've done. I mean, we went down to the green marker, but you can see right there, we've already down to the middle of the 8th bar. We would have done even more damage if we didn't have to wait for call there. So, I mean, there is a big difference. I mean, you're looking at, you know, 1.5 bars more damage, actually more than that if we wouldn't have had to sit there and wait. So, I mean, it's a pretty big difference, at least in regular World Boss, as far as the uniform is concerned, as far as your damage that you're actually dealing, right? I mean, it's a nice upgrade. It really is. And as far as how well he can do against Null, we're just going to do stage 9. You know, I have 13% pierce to my account, right? And we're just going to use 1 support. We're just going to use White Fox. And, you know, it really does suck, you know, like with the Eternals, the fact that they're aliens. And, I mean, you just can't use them. At least you can use Ikaris because he's a male. But here's the thing. He only buffs up Eternals. And the other Eternals we have currently in the game right now are just female. So his leadership is actually quite useless as far as World Boss Legend content is concerned against Null for, like, it's just useless, right? Because he's a character that really isn't strong enough on his own to really get it done. Like, he does okay. Like, he does decent. It's not bad, right? We're just going to use 1 support, use his leadership. And because he has ignore target dodge rate on his second skill, it's only for 5 seconds, but you always want to use that thing before you do your tier 3 or before you do the 4th skill whenever you're facing null. It's always going to be 3-2-4 or 3-2 tier 3. So we do have 3 ignore dodge strikers. That way we have a total of 90% ignore dodge along with the ignore dodge from a second skill. And then we have 2 damage to supervillain strikers. All right, so we're going to do that again because I just wasn't happy with the way things were going. We got kind of screwed at the end of the fight against Null. So we're going to try this again. But whenever you play Ikaris, it really is a simple rotation. It's literally 3-2-4, get your ignore dodge from the second skill. Then hit your 5. Once the 4 finishes, go 5-1. Then it's going to be 3-2-4 again. And then 5-1. Now the cage is going to be up. And then once your tier 3 is ready, or there's like 80% on the tier 3, then you just want to go 3-2, tier 3. You always want to try to get that ignore dodge when you're playing with Ikaris. That way, you know, Null isn't dodging your attacks. All right. Yeah. We're not worried. 3-2-4 again. You got to be pretty quick, though, whenever you're canceling Ikaris' skills. Now, look at his cooldown on his tier 3. It's like at 88%. There we go. Perfect. And you always want to make sure the tier 3 finishes out. And you guys can see right there, man, just a little over a minute, right? So, I mean, it's not terrible. I know it's just stage 9, but we are just using 1 support, right? It's not like we're using some OP team. And we are just, you know, he does just have a stage 8 Power of Angry Hawk set. His uniform isn't maxed out. He's got 200% damage proc. But it isn't really what you want to see. To be perfectly honest, you want to see more than this, right? That's kind of the thing. And we expect more from the leader of the Eternals. That's kind of the thing with a character like this. And that's why I'm going to use him for a sub DPS, because he still can put in a little bit of work, right? Even in higher levels, he'll put in a little bit of work. It's not going to be what I think most of us would really want. I mean, obviously, we're going to want more than this from him. All right, do your thing, buddy. But, I mean, you don't have to worry about Ikaris dying because of all the decreased damage received that he has, the heals that he has. I mean, the dude's tanky. He's tanky, right? And, you know, and if I do wonder how strong he'd be with a CTP of energy. Because, I mean, this is not bad at all. Something to keep in mind whenever you're facing Null is every time you do the 5th skill, make sure that you're close to Null, because if you're far away, Ikaris will start going into his iframe, and you won't be able to cancel that damn thing. He'll start flying around, doing tons of hits, and he'll actually set off the proc once again. It's pretty damn annoying. And you can play pretty aggressive with Ikaris. This is something that's nice about the character. Because of his survivability, like, and that is something that's fun about him, is the fact that he doesn't die very easy at all. I mean, he's super tanky. He's got great heals. I mean, it's kind of like the highlight of the character. And his damage isn't horrific, right? It's not horrific. It's not horrific by any means. I'm just waiting for that 3 to get off cooldown. Right? And I just love that he has the movable skills. Right? The movable skills are awesome. Now here's what really sucks is now his accumulation isn't ready, right? Because of the long cooldown on the 3rd skill, you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's pretty damn annoying, honestly. And boom, right? You know, so like a 3 minutes and 30 seconds, he did this. That's not terrible. I mean, that's not like horrible or I think, we just expect so much more from the character. And, but the thing is, being an Eternal, being an alien, there's a lot of stages you can't use them in, at least against Null, right? It kind of devalues the character a little bit in PvE, and that's kind of a bummer about him. But I do like Ikaris, man. Other than his long cooldowns, I mean, really all they had to do is just give him a better accumulation. 0.6%. This should have been plus 1.5%. Or just give him some attack buffs. They didn't give the guy any attack buffs whatsoever. He has no increase to his attack. That is beyond me at this state in the game. Not giving him an increase to his attack, or at least make him like maybe more PvP viable for timeline. This guy is literally pretty much a god. And it's just insane to me that the paywall character here is actually weaker, at least in PvE, versus the free-to-play characters in Ikaris and Cersei. It's just crazy to me how Netmarble's done this. But all in all, I do think they dropped the ball on the character. I think he looks cool. I think he's easy to play, and he's actually really fun to play. It's something I really like about the character, and that's why, again, I'm going to be using it as a sub-DPS character, because I'm still going to enjoy playing with the character a little bit, just throwing in some shots there. And you guys saw, like a lot of times I just face stage 9. And you saw how easy he plowed through that with one support. So I don't feel like he's a waste at all. But let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see him with a CTP regeneration to see how well he can actually play in PvP. I mean, again, from what I've seen so far, the AI just doesn't prioritize the right skills at the right moments in the fight. And it really causes the Ikaris' death. But if you'd like to see that, I'd be happy to do that for you. So let me know what y'all think about Ikaris. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.